started by looking at how do people abuse, and then I talked about emotional bait. Okay, people use emotional bait. They work on the emotions of the victim, and I gave a scenario where a girl walks into the room of her uncle. The uncle makes the girl touch him, and begins to cry, and I tells the girl, "Hey, you've hurt uncle. I'm going to report you to your parents." And the girl say, "Hey, uncle, don't do that." And uncle now says, "Okay, if you don't want me to report, you need to do this consistently." And that's we have girls right now who were hooked on the uncle for like 7, 9 years. Another reason now.
That's a lucky case.
Yeah.
I've heard of cases where you said so. It's learned, and you actually begin to date your molester.
Yeah. Where you present yourself, then you have financial bait. That's why we tell young people, don't collect, a gift whose motive you don't understand. Someone gives you money, and tells you not to show your parents, especially if it's your uncle. Why would he say you shouldn't? I mean, those kind of lines are the lines you get from a predator. Okay, then you have a rape. Rape is another situation where, and that's why we warn young girls, please be mindful of where you go visit them, because they drop sleeping pill in the drink, and then by the time you wake up, you just realize that you've been raped. So that's another. Then familiarity and respect bit, which is so common in Nigeria. People find it so difficult to say no to the people they respect, and this happens a lot among religious leaders. There are loads of. I mentioned it earlier that predators are everywhere. Okay, it's not just limited. They're not even strangers. The people you know. You have predators in the home. They're uncles. They come in form of uncles. They come in form of teachers. They come in form of pastors, Islamic scholars. They're everywhere. Every religion. It knows no boundary. Traditional leaders. What have you? Okay, so where you have familiarity, where a child is familiar with someone, there could be abuse, because proximity could naturally breed immorality. Okay, where someone respects, and we live in a culture. We have some parts of Nigeria where they say a child must not look straight into the eyes of an adult. So whatever an adult does, you need to look down. Okay, that in itself is an abusive position. Okay, because it positions a child, and we believe that anything an adult says is right. So the adult can touch a child, and the child
manipulate that child.
But now we have the Child's Rights Act, which empowers a child to say no. You can determine whatever happens to you. You can say no to whatever you don't believe is right. Then we have the gift bait. Now, what are some of the effects of child abuse on the victim? Number one is low self-esteem. Most of the girls you see and boys you see battle with low self-esteem. Many of them were victims of child abuse. There's what is called the inferiority complex, and there's what is called the superiority complex. Superiority complex and inferiority complex are actually self-esteem issues. Okay, low self-esteem issues. They need to pop up something and that's why you see these manifestations everywhere. Everywhere I go, I see ladies expose their bodies in the name of fashion. It's a manifestation of self-esteem. Because you need your body to announce yourself, but great minds don't announce themselves by their body, they announce themselves by their brain. Okay, so you see people, they just want to draw attention. There's a part of them that is crying out and say, "Hey, come get me, come get me." They need to draw attention to themselves. It's an esteem problem, and by the time you trace it down, you would see that it's an effect of abuse. Another effect is loss of confidence. People have been sexually molested. They don't have confidence in themselves. They don't believe they are good enough. No matter what you say to them, they don't believe they're good enough. So they derive their esteem by attaching them to someone, and that's why some of them, they become a tool in the hand of the molester. Even when they find themselves in a relationship, they still become a tool. They use them and use them. So sex becomes a language of negotiating affection from whosoever they are dating. Okay, so loss of confidence. Another effect is sexual anorexia. Sexual anorexia means those ones, they don't want to have anything to do with the opposite sex. So you have a situation where you see a particular girl, she doesn't move with boys. She believes she must stay alone. She's alone. She's alone. And a typical parent looks at the girl and say, "Yeah, my girl is fine. That's the right girl. She doesn't do boys and what have you. But you don't know what she's going through." Now, those ones, when they switch it to another level, when they stretch it further, some of them become lesbians, or some of them become gay as boys. Okay, sexual anorexia. They don't want. Opposite sex naturally repel them. Depending on who it was that molested them. Then
I need to know. possible for, because I know that there could be so many people who grown-ups now who are going through what you've been listing, and they're wondering, okay, this is they call it their personality type.
Yeah.
You know, and they've forgotten what went on when they were younger. Is it possible to actually block out everything that went on when one wants, even if it happened just once?
Some don't even remember. But you see, when you don't remember, doesn't exempt you from some of the effects. I was sharing, I don't know if it was here, I was sharing of the lady, I was sharing it last week, on Thursday, of the lady who, was raped. She didn't know she was raped because she was drugged. She got pregnant. Her auntie took her for abortion. She didn't know it was abortion. Yet, she began to manifest traits of low self-esteem, loss of confidence, and whatever, all these things.
And she was married before the aunt told her what happened.
No, she didn't know. Okay, so you have cases like that. Okay, so another effect is unstable emotion. People have unstable emotion. You see, this person is sad today, tomorrow is similar to what we call multi-personality still split, but this is a different dimension to that. Then you have abusive relationships. Usually people have been sexually abused. They find themselves in abusive relationships. Okay, they have seen people in relationships where the guy beats them blue black and they say it's his weakness. Seen people, someone is in a relationship, this guy is sleeping with some other people, but they become helpless because their life is wired around that guy. They find it so hard to let go, so they find themselves in abusive relationships. Some of them cultivate and they develop homosexual tendencies. I'll be very honest on here. Most of the things people call homosexual tendencies, people say, oh, that was the way I was created. No. It's most of the people I've worked with, you will realize that it's a dysfunctionality in their sexuality that happened at a period in their life that they were too young to comprehend what happened to them. Okay, so naturally they've developed that tendency, and that's why someone feels, hey, that's the way I was made. No. And I've seen many of them recover. So some of them develop homosexual tendency. Another effect could be unwanted pregnancies. There are lots of young girls who have aborted pregnancies for their fathers, aborted pregnancies for their uncles, as a result of abuse. I mean, the predator molests them, impregnates them, tells them to go abort,
and then it
continues. Okay. Another effect is sex addiction. As a matter of fact, 9 out of 10 sex addiction cases, you can look back and find someone who has been sexually molested at some point in time, okay, without paying attention to it. And that's why I always tell people, when you've been sexually molested, you stop growing emotionally, but you keep growing physically. So you can be I've seen 40-year-old teenagers in Nigeria. I've seen 45-year-old teenagers. He's 45, or he's thinking his reasoning faculty is like a teenager because he has refused to grow. There are things that you should naturally outgrow, after your teenage years. But you find out that there are adults who never outgrow some of those things. So sex addiction is one of the effects of abuse. Then learned helplessness. Learned helplessness, it's so strong in this part of the world. And you see, you find learned helplessness a lot with ladies. A lady, when the lady tells you, praise, I don't like what is being done to me, but I can't stop it. That is learned helplessness, because you are being conditioned to act in a particular way. Yeah, you don't like the fact that the guy is touching you, but every time he touches you, you present your body. And you would have thought that by leaving that room, you should run away from that room. But you realize that they find their way back to the room, so it becomes like a coping mechanism where it's learned helplessness. I've had girls say that consistently to me, oh, praise, I found myself in a bus, a guy stretched his hand and began to play with my body. I hated what he was doing, but I couldn't stop him. Another lady will say, hey, she was being stupid. But no, that's the effect. Because abuse conditions you to a thing that must be used, not a pain that must be respected.
Okay, so you're kind of like helpless. You can't do anything about it.
Kind of. Then you have some who exhibit nightmare. Now, along the line in this series, I will tell you what to watch out for in children who have been molested. Okay, or you have some who exhibit nightmare. They just wake up and you're wondering exactly what is happening. That could be someone who has been abused. Another effect is withdrawal. There are some of them suffer from sexual anorexia, but some of them become withdrawn, and others become sexually promiscuous as well. Okay, so you have someone who is just saying, if you have a child who is an extrovert and suddenly becomes withdrawn, you need to probe. it's not impossible that that child is being sexually molested. There was a case I handled of a child who used to be very good at school. All of a sudden became withdrawn, and the parents thought it was because, he had a lot of privileges, so they withdraw all the privileges. The situation didn't get better. It became worse. They went from pillar to until they brought the guy to my office. And by the time I began to run his therapy, I discovered where the problem was. It was his teacher that was molesting him sexually. So he couldn't comprehend anything, because his childhood had been stolen from him. Another effect is unforgiveness. People have been molested, they find it so hard to forgive, and that was with the message we got, when we started the show. Sexually transmitted infection is another effect. There are lots of young people who have sexually transmitted infection. You remember the case of the 6-year-old who died in Port Harcourt of staphylococcus. He was infected. He didn't know. They were treating him for malaria and typhoid. Until the doctor, by examining him, noticed, some funny things around his pubic region, and by the time they ran the test, it came out as having been infected with staphylococcus. By the time they began to administer the antibiotics, it was too strong for his body, and he died eventually. He was an only boy. Okay, so sexual transmitted infection, then depression. People have been sexually abused. Some of them suffer bouts of depression. I think we'll stop there today. There is still a lot to cover. But if you're a parent, you're listening, you need to teach your children about good touch, bad touch, and confusing touch. A good touch is a touch that is outside the body. That involves the public parts of the body, which we will talk about some other time. But a confusing touch is a touch that a child doesn't understand. For example, tickling a child is a confusing touch, because confusing touches will usually lead to bad touch. Many parents tickle their children, they don't see anything wrong with it. Okay? If you don't see anything wrong with it, your child will not see anything wrong with it. When a stranger, when the uncle, when the auntie tickles your child, you can pass protection to your child. Those people are predators. They don't want to pass protection to your child. So whatever you don't want someone else to do to your child, you don't do it. I think we should stop there today so that we can go to a call to the lines to hear the stories of people who have had to face one form of abuse or the other. You have a story to share with us, or you have a question you want to ask tonight.
20 more minutes. Now take down these numbers: 01741